Who's there?
Alexander was there.
Oh, yeah.
Andres was there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen.
I bet you could borrow.
So we talked about it a few times. Knowledge is still somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
I've heard from.
I remember that. I said and everything.
I haven't, yeah, I haven't thought about it.
James was still there.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
I run into his wife every once in a while.
Heidi was there.
Oh, yeah. She's a Jamaican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah. Nagorski.
Nagorski. And the Marbury Santos was just hired.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
I don't think Anna might have retired.
I think so, probably.
I run into her every once in a while. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for your patience as we got things up and running. Welcome to the Salem Public Art Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. The time is 11:33 and I'm going to go over to our chair, Susan Nathan.
Okay, hi, thanks all for coming. We usually start with just some introduction, so I'll start and we can just go around the room, say who we are and maybe go around. We don't have anyone on Zoom, but
Carl's on there.
oh, Carl, okay, so maybe we go me, Carl, and then around this way. That sounds good. I'm Susan Apac. Like I said, chair of the commission.
Carl Roth, Commissioner.
Brian Hart, Commissioner.
Chris Snyder, city staff.
Susan Escobar, Commissioner.
Chris Darcy, Commissioner.
Esther Lindsay, public citizen.
And filmmaker.
Oh, okay, great.
Michael Pinstra, artist.
Carly Wright, I'm a Salemite and I do Press Play Salem.
Linda Beerley, Salem Art Foundation.
Carol Schneider, Salem Arts Foundation.
Welcome, everyone. First thing on the agenda is, well, we've called the meeting to order. And is there public comment?
I have public comment. I have to read, so. Thank you for letting me share some comments. I'm here today in regards to two things. First is the artist retention of copyright that was brought up initially September 10th of 2025. And then again, work was being done on it and it was brought up again with the intention of February and then March. And now it's July, so 10 months later, the commission did vote to pass information on copyright, but then it was to go and look at it again. So I'm just here to bring up the copyright again and to inquire as to where we stand on it with the hopes that we can get it back on the agenda and finalized so that it can go to public council. And then my second thing is I would like to suggest that the Public Art Commission look at increasing or requesting an increase of the public art dedication from 0.5% to art to a full percent. This is a standard that is actually an average across the states, is being that it's at least 1%. Portland actually dedicates 2% and Seattle dedicates 1%. So the state also invests at 1%, but the city of Salem is only at 0.5%. So I would like to see that increase for the city of Salem. And I think it's worth discussion because as it's noted in for this board, that public art is the purpose of it, and to try and see that our city has a growing collection of public art. I think we've seen that it does bring people into town. It does support tourism. it supports the financial stability of the community and health and wellness and civic engagement. So 1% is the standard, and I think that Salem should meet it. Thank you very much.
Do we have any update on the copyright? It's not on the, I realize it's not on the agenda, but is there any update on when we can expect report on that?
We were gonna be working with Brian, city staff and Brian, right, to coordinate a few more informational gathering with some of the other locations. That's as far as we got.
Do you think we can get it on the agenda for September? I know we're not gonna meet in August.
Correct.
We could try to shoot for that.
We can try and shoot for those. I don't know.
I can do some stuff for
We
sure.
haven't set up anything.
I think we need to, I think that, because the city was, from what I understand, the city was, doing some work on it and kind of give me a little bit of an update on where that stands, and then asked if I could also help reach out to some cities. So I think what I need to do is figure out who you guys have talked to, who you haven't, who needs to be contacted, so we're not overlapping and talking to the same people twice, and then just get some more answers to kind of what that looks like. What copyright transfer, if we change it, does it, I think the main, not concerns, but like the questions are, is this going to increase any city staff, any liability, staff responsibility or work, because staff doesn't have a lot of extra time or money, so things like that. I think are the big questions that, from what I understand, that still need to be answered. So I'm hoping that we can get those answers.
The background is that the city retains copyright right now for the, and we're trying to get that changed.
Since advice code or no.
It's interesting. I did some archiving for the Oregon Artist Series Foundation over the weekend, and at least 50% of the artists whose work has been purchased recently stipulate in their invoice when they bill convention center or our nonprofit is that they retain the copyright.
So they just X out the part of it.
We don't-
They put it in the.
It's not a purchase by the city. It's a separate.
It is.
Yeah. I also, I ran into an attorney in Salem maybe a month ago, and I don't even remember how this came up, but he has a fair amount of experience dealing with copyright. And so if we are going to consider this in September, maybe in advance of our meeting, we should solicit some specific public comment from artists who are familiar with doing public commissions and from the people who are advocating for just changing the standards so that we're not coming in again where we're not in a position to take action. And I think it would be good for the city attorneys who are looking at this to hear from people who are either working in the industry or are the lawyers who represent those individuals about what the standards are. Because I did also speak to a former city attorney who happens to be an artist as well. And he said, what would the city want with this copyright? Like what, there's no purpose. The city's not, he didn't understand why anybody would want it. Besides the initiating artist.
Protections, possible legal protections, is
If I
what
may
they're claiming, I believe.
also add some more is that I recently went to the Americans for the Arts conference, which a lot of other city administrators of public art collections and programs were there, and I made a lot of contacts, and I know that they are glad to offer input or like tell you how they're doing it, because every other city that I've connected with over the issue has said that they don't retain the copyright, that the artists retain the copyright and they have a usage license. So I just would really love to see this move forward in Salem, because we shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel. This has already been happening in other cities, and being that we're the capital, I think it's really important that we make a statement and we show that we support artists, and we can still be able to promote art with no issue. Other places are doing it.
Mhm.
And as far as the percent for art, I don't think we've ever really, as far as I know, it hasn't been brought up as a new business topic or anything to the commission since I've been on it, but so it might be a good idea for us to kind of put that on our, as a new business to discuss and research and talk to staff and see what that would entail. I can't imagine any of us would want to not have more.
Yeah, more.
Everybody wants more.
So it's, thank you for raising that, Carly, both of those things.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Any other public comment? Okay, moving on for consent agenda. I do have a couple of things in the minutes that I noticed that are incorrect. The part about the Civic Center call for artists, first of all, that cafe, it still says cafe, which is just a website that artists use to post, so that should come out, but, and it says the invitation will be extended to Michael Foster on here, but his proposal had already been accepted. So it says for further discussion regarding his proposal, if selected, his art installation will be finalized before staff return to Civic Center. So I believe it was, Chris did do a report that it had already been selected. So that should be cool, yes. The other thing is under number 2, Eco Earth Globe. I believe, Chris, you had given us a report about possibly having to pay for another estimate, and we had asked for if it was done in stages. I know Carl had brought that up, that he thought that might be an interesting idea, and that you had said it would have to be a whole new set of estimates, and we'd have to pay it, because we would have to pay for it. But we suggested, and he suggested, going back to the original estimates that were given in stages and to see if we can get a number, just to let people know what would it cost to take everything off.
And I've spoken with city staff that's responsible for those and has those cost estimates that were provided. And what was shared with me was that those cost estimates didn't break down into fine enough detail to come back with a accurate number, other than something that's closer to like ballpark, like $600,000, because of the way it was, the line items were written out. It was for things, for example, like the platform that goes around the ball for people to do work on thing, would be on there as a one line item, but it would be for the whole time frame that there was needed to be for both the removal as well as the putback. And if you do it in phases, then you only need a portion of that. And they couldn't break out, how much would be needed or would be applied to just the removal side of things versus the amount of time it would take for doing the putback. So that was one of the examples that was given. And then there was some other pieces that they were just lump summed together when we got the estimate from the company. So that was an issue that staff had to be able to provide that. And reluctant to go back to the company and say, hey, can you give us a better detailed breakdown of this information? And was concerned that they would charge additional hours and request additional pay for refining their previous quote.
Is that something that we still feel like we need to know? Is there even a ballpark of what it, because we thought going to the public and saying, hey, it's gonna cost, $1 million or whatever, it's 600 or $1 million, just to take it down to nothing. And I thought that was, we wanted to be able to say something like that.
I have a question, if it's appropriate to ask. So the money to pay for the estimates has come out from the city's contribution.
Yeah.
So we have been getting increasingly nervous about the deadline for the CREF grant. And I am starting to wonder if these estimates can be paid for out of that grant. Because that grant is not where you get a check. That grant is where you have to show that you have spent this money and then you're reimbursed. So it's a reimbursement grant. And I'm wondering if the cost for the estimates can be charged to this grant that is due to run out, go away in less than a year now. So when you think about, what you're spending and where it's coming from, I don't know, something to consider.
Since the Echo Earth Globe is on the agenda for this meeting, can we hold off on further discussion until we get to that on the agenda?
Yeah.
So that we have a guest here and first of all, we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that was something that we had, that I thought should be in the minutes because it was something that we had asked for. And it wasn't included in there. So at this point,
Is spelled wrong in the minutes.
That's
Carol
right.
Snyder's name is spelled wrong in the minutes.
which one?
That was the correction I was gonna make.
Yeah.
So Carol Snyder with a Y is listed as Karen Snyder with an I on the meeting guests. So that was my correction.
Okay. So, should we call for approval of the consent agenda and the minutes with as corrected?
So move.
All in favor?
You need a second.
Second?
Second.
So 1 second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed or abstaining? Okay, great, moving along. Welcome to our guest, Michael Boomstruck, whose work has been selected for the Percent for Art, public artwork, in Civic Center. And Chris, did you want to say anything more about the project or anything, or just say anything more about since you've been the point person on this?
Sure. So welcome, Michael Boomstruck. Michael reminded us as we joined the meeting today that he was a former visiting professor of art at Willamette some time ago. Now he's on the faculty of Oregon State. His proposal, and we have not shared your full proposal with the commission. I brought a hard copy, but I'm going to turn it over to you. You may not know that as a subcommittee and Carl Roth, who's the small figure at the top of the screen
up there.
Carl is an architect here in Salem. Susan and I were part of the subcommittee. Karen Kinsey managed the selection process, the logistics. We had another person from Hacker Architects and Courtney Knox Bush from the mayor's office, city manager's office. Your proposal and your presentation was the first one that we saw of about 10 or so that we looked at. And then ultimately came back and you were among the top contenders and then ultimately through our independent voting selected for the commission. But I think a number of us were moved by your inspiration here in Salem for the piece. So I'll turn it over to you.
Okay.
And let you, do you need your proposal?
Yeah, that might help. That would be good. It was a few weeks ago now. Well, yeah, thanks for having me here in your meeting today. Before I start, I just like to echo the copyright issue that was already brought up. Yeah, it's a big thing. I've had some back and forths already with this contract a little bit, but retaining copyright is something that's kind of par for the course these days, and it's mostly to deal with intellectual property. So if I'm giving a talk about this work, I don't have to get the city of Salem's permission in order to show images and things like that of my own creative practice. Yeah, it's something I would definitely encourage you all to take seriously and move forward with. So this project, the inspiration is taken from the tree that, to my understanding, is not yet down on Ferry Street, the oldest street tree in Oregon or in Salem. Is that correct? It has not yet been taken down. It's still,
I don't know for sure.
yeah, so that's,
I can do,
It's
okay,
Because
that's
of
my
the-
next
the-
stop after this meeting.
If it's
today.
not removed, it's needed.
It's in,
Oh, is it?
yeah. And so I'm very, very fond of Oregon oaks. I have a number of them in my front yard in Eugene. And this project kind of revolves around this tree that has been here longer than the city itself. It's probably going to be 400 plus years old. The exact date won't be known until it's taken down. And I've already had a back and forth with David Craig from Willamette University, and we're going to meet later this month or perhaps the first week of August. Yeah, hopefully talk about that tree specifically, but definitely more about just Oregon oaks that are within this city. So this is the silhouette of the tree. And basically the idea is to take that architectural framework of the tree branches and create a drawing out of those specific lines as they go through space. It's very similar to other work I've done in the past, but kind of superimpose that tree over the civic center. The scale, it matches up quite well. It's not going to be exact, but the basic proposal is that I'm going to take I'm calling it the architecture of the branches, the structure of the branches might be a better word, and leaving that as empty negative space. It'll start off as a very small drawing. You can see on everywhere that the branches are not will be a series of marks. It could be dots. They could be small dashes. That is yet to be determined. But this small drawing, which is going to be made out of oak gall ink, which I like to have the materials tie into the subject or the inspiration of the project, as well as the context. And here it has a couple different layers to it. One is that I'm referencing an oak tree, so using oak gall ink makes sense. But also oak gall ink is one of the oldest, it's one of the inks that have been used in many of the founding documents of this country, as well as other countries throughout the world. So it's an old type of ink, but it's also very stable in that it comes from the same tree and it ties back into a governmental building. I just really liked how all those things played off of one another. There are a couple issues with that. First is the best oak gall collection happens in the fall, which will be a little too late for this project. Luckily, I have an acquaintance who has a nice collection of oak galls already. So it might bend a little bit where the oak galls will come from Salem adjacent rather than in the city itself. But the timeliness of the project, I think, takes priority over exactly where those oak galls are collected from. So we'll be able to start in the next couple of weeks. This small drawing is going to get basically put into Adobe Illustrator. It'll get made into a STL file, and then this drawing that's basically 7 inches by 24 inches, 2 of them will get transposed into a file that will equate to 7 feet by 24 feet. And all of those marks that were made out of the oak gall ink, those are what's going to be cut out of the what will be steel. It'll be weathered steel, so core 10 steel. And then those will get mounted or floated off of both of the elevator shafts at about 2 inches. The weathered steel is a very low maintenance material. When it gets installed, it's going to take a few months before it starts to really get that nice orangey brown color to it. So, when it's installed, it's not going to look like what it's going to look like for the next few decades. It'll take a little bit of time. And for like after it's installed, I'm gonna give it a little push and just mist it with some water to start having that oxidation start happening. Might need to do that once or twice beyond installation just to make sure it kicks into gear. But the humidity here should help quite a bit. And in terms of the architecture of the building, I wanted to have a project that, like, the materials is the work. It's a brutalist architectural building. Like, the concrete is the concrete. There's no adornment. There's no membrane over top of it. And this work echoes a lot of those brutalist architectural principles, where the work starts as a small, intimate drawing, but what you're going to end up with and see is just going to be weathered steel and some hidden hardware attachments to the concrete itself. Pass this around.
Do you make your own ink? Is that what you?
Yeah, I'm going to be making my own ink. Yeah.
Does David Craig's oak project coming out of Willamette, do they have any of that material collected?
That's what I'm meeting him to discuss. So if he has a nice little collection, he's willing to give me some of those. Yes, that isn't my question. Okay.
My sister-in-law was in
I
Dallas.
am open to donations.
Years ago when I lived in New Jersey.
Okay.
And I think I kept them and brought them.
Okay,
here,
so-
I will
so
look for them.
I have the ones that
Yeah.
I currently have access to were collected just outside of Corvallis. But this is a kind of a rendition of that core 10 steel, the weathered steel over top of the concrete. I think it'll have a really, core 10 steel is a very kind of industrial feeling material, but it's also very, in my opinion, like soft because of the weathering that happens to it. I like to think of it as that the weathering is kind of a blush that happens to the steel. So it has a warmness to it that I really appreciate. And one of the things I'm most excited about is having that kind of warm, toned steel floating over top of that light gray concrete. Some visual elements that are not really that I can't really produce for the initial idea is just the filtered light as it comes through that perforated core 10 steel, kind of behind the steel onto the concrete. It's going to be a little bit of a dappling light effect. So despite these kind of industrial materials like concrete and steel, the visual characteristics are going to have a softness and a subtlety to it with quite a bit of nuance. And yeah, I'm really excited to see it.
And will the perforations be graduated in size?
Yeah, so I'm gonna like as soon as the contract situation is taken care of, and I'm waiting for COI from my insurance which I was supposed to have yesterday afternoon, but should be the next day or two. I'm going to make a series of 5 to 10 different iterations of this drawing to see what works best. But I like the idea of kind of, a gradation from probably larger to smaller. So it kind of ends up echoing, like, it could be like leaves or just verticality. But yeah, the work will be, the size will be different from the bottom to the top. Absolutely.
How about other questions from
Yeah, I
the
think
commission or any guests or Aaron?
Have you met? Did you? Have you met?
I mean, yeah,
I mean,
virtually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Our inboxes have shaken hands.
Yeah, well, it's
So
gonna,
is there questions, just curiosity, maintenance, ongoing maintenance, what kind of maintenance requirements are there?
It's one of the great things about 410 steel is once it has that, that initial patina that it self-generates is also the protective quality of the material. So it's very, very low maintenance, which will be key to this. It's not going to be directly touching the concrete either, because there can be issues with it staining and things like that, but it's never going to come into contact. There's also going to be, to make doubly sure, nylon washers that are in between the concrete and the steel components as it interfaces the concrete. So there won't be any physical contact between any metal part of the work and the concrete itself. So, you know, in terms of maintenance, there should be very, very little. In fact, until it starts to get that nice patina, the best thing would be that like just people leave it alone. Yeah, there should not be a lot.
Okay.
And then is there like, because we're talking about rusting, the changes to the rust cover,
Yeah,
it's metal,
correct.
is there like an end of life, basically, once it comes to brittle or whatever?
It does continue to do that, but the gauge that I have spec'd, I can't see the building lasting that long.
Okay.
I mean, it'll be probably well over a century or two into the future before it got to the point where it would be any issue.
What is the thickness of the material?
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And also just as a kind of
About
follow-up to
1/8
that,
of an inch.
1/8 of an inch. Okay. And how far proud of the concrete will be?
2 inches approximately.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be great for shadows and, as you said, dappled light. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
really nice.
We were also really excited about the drawings and the process
Yeah.
and hoping that there was some way that we could let the public in on that, either through actually having the drawings or some kind of documentation, but that's something
Yeah.
we can talk about further down the line.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's absolutely fine by me. I like sharing that process with as many people that are curious about it. Yeah, I did that for the Farmers Market Pavilion for Eugene, as well as the work out of Hatfield at OSU. There's
Display or something like that with it.
yeah, it doesn't cover all the different kind of layers and components of the process, but it's enough where people, you know, understand that you know, this started as a drawing and what you're seeing is basically a transcribed very small thing into something that's quite large and almost like monumental.
Yeah, if in the process you have any suggestions about where we could have that within the building, something, how you see it
Yeah,
happening, you know.
my personal preference sometimes isn't the preference for the majority of people. I often like to have it kind of hidden away. So as people are in this building for decades, perhaps it might take a while, or they go into this a new part and then they see this and they're like, this looks familiar. And then, you know, so it's not just like this is that, but there's that relationship that maybe just kind of expands the work outside of the atrium into a different part of the building a little bit more. That would be my preference, where it's a little bit sneakier, subtler. That's a better word than sneaky.
Yeah, well, as we familiarize yourself with the space there, we'd certainly be open to hearing where you would see them.
Yeah, I'd be very open to that.
And when Amanda Wojcik, on the U of O faculty, did a piece at the library here.
Yeah.
She organized a show of her work, showing kind of her conceptual, you know, beginnings of the piece that she actually did as a commission.
Right.
And it was installed in the library, which is very active here in Salem. It's a very diverse customer group, all ages, and that's also an option.
Yeah, that'd be something to be open to as well.
I have one question, a little bit on the maintenance side of it,
Yeah.
or if anything. So, and this is the first time I'm even hearing about
Okay,
the design, and it's amazing. Very excited for it. So thank you so much for bringing this to us. So if I'm understanding correctly, the piece is kind of separated from the column, right?
Yeah.
Is there, and I might not even know what I'm talking about, but sounds like the patina and everything is kind of the process of your piece. What about the concrete underneath it? Will that, if it, I'm just worried that when it comes up and it's gonna be the contrast between the two is gonna be beautiful, but as the concrete maybe gets darker, sometimes when moisture and especially in brutalism concrete, it gets dark and then there's not as much contrast between the two. Will we have to, brush the concrete underneath, leave your work alone? Is there any kind of concerns, or is it just, if it changes, that's
not to
part of it?
me, I'm very open to like, the scale at which the materials of the architecture might change. I'm 100% okay with it.
Okay. I
Like,
would just hate to it to like not be like in 10 years, it's not as visually like stunning
I don't-
as the first time because the contrast is different, you know what I mean? That's all I'm wondering.
I'm not concerned about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't see it getting dark enough where it's even gonna be kind of on the same value scale as the
Okay.
steel.
Yeah.
Like they're even just, like some of the contrast isn't necessarily light and dark, it's warm versus cold.
Sure.
And so, and just the contrast of the materials themselves, so the actual lightness or darkness of them isn't necessarily a concern that's high on the list
Okay.
at all.
Great. Cool.
Just as a follow-up to that, the elevator towers that this is going to be attached to is original concrete. So it's 56 years old. So it's already kind of aged as much as it probably will.
Okay.
It doesn't get direct weather as.
Yeah, that's probably.
So it doesn't have, like, you look at the exterior of Civic, it certainly has some really weathered, dark concrete.
That's what I was
When you-
worried
When you
about.
walk into the atrium space, it's a lot different.
Yeah, undercover, definitely.
And with the new skylights and everything, it would be nice and bright too.
Yeah.
I have a question probably for you, Erin. So I'm just thinking timing of contract getting resolved. If the oak tree is gonna come down, I'm sure that there'll be local media interest in that tree situation. I'm sure that there will be, it's Salem, love trees. And, this could be an opportunity to announce this commission tying in with the tree coming down and just talking. We are a tree city, it seems like there are some storylines that would resonate with folks in a positive way here. So I'm hoping that we could be just paying, like watching out for the timing. Like I might have to do a drive-by of the tree later.
Yeah, you guys can tell me if it's.
Yeah, well,
No, I
okay, I'll
have
do it.
Urban Forester, he told me he was coordinating with Marion County, but I haven't heard back since, now it's 2 weeks ago.
Okay, because the tree project that came out of, that is still at Willamette,
Yeah.
with David Craig and the biology people. That's a very active group.
Mhm.
And he lives like blocks from here.
Right,
So, there's opportunity to engage those people on a positive way about the community building aspect of this whole endeavor. I just see, I see a lot of good opportunity
okay, yeah,
to launch this.
Is it something that we can make sure that, I know the city meets with media, they have the media.
We have
So maybe make sure that they are really aware of this project and the tie-in to the tree coming down so that they can meet with some reporter and, whoever else they meet with, the journal, and to really get it out there, because I agree, it'd be great PR for.
Well, and Courtney Knox Bush, from the mayor's city manager's office, was
Right.
part of she was part of the process from start to finish, so she's got a good person, she would be good
I don't know.
contact within city government,
If she's
in addition to Aaron and Chris.
Yeah.
we have a public information officer, Rob,
Mhm.
my name, and he works very closely with all the news releases and stuff like that.
Great.
share that information.
One more thing, Michael, I think I think you mentioned this during your interview process, and we liked the idea and that it might actually have some legs. And that was potentially creating a bench or something with the oak tree wood.
Yeah,
And so we did a little digging on that, and what we found out is, and I think you actually even said this in your we brought up the ideas. The timing doesn't really work out if the tree hasn't come down. You got to mill it and let it dry. So it's going to be a while before you can actually make a bench out of a tree.
yeah,
Especially if it hasn't come down yet. But talking to our urban forester, there's another tree, oak tree of similar age, probably not 400 years, but pretty close to that in the cemeteries in town. That they had to take down. It's already been milled and it's currently drying. And so we're looking at potentially using that oak wood to build or make a bench. So it's not 100% confirmed yet, but the idea is generated and we have the wood and the tools and the know-how. So I think that's something we're going to try to make happen.
that's great.
And where it goes and where, how it fits in with what you've got, I think we might have some further conversations about, it's not just some random bench, but actually kind of ties in a little bit to your.
Yeah, no, I'm very interested in, like when we use materials, just being, trying to think about the actual, like where they came from and how old they are and the history that like the material embodies. And so doing things like that, I am all for it. I think that would be fantastic. The project I just worked on for University of Oregon at Ballard Hall is a series of 3 fairly large scale triptychs where all of the framing is fabricated from wood from inside Ballard Hall. And it was from the original construction, so it said like 1876. How we try to do a little bit of historical digging to see where those, like, if there were actually contracts on where that lumber came from, we can find that information out. But we do know that those fir trees did come from somewhere either in Eugene or Eugene adjacent when Ballard Hall was constructed. They weren't hauling large beams very far back then. So, but I like that, like where there's the artwork, but then you can also go up and just maybe it's not looked highly upon, but you can like touch the frame and know that the frame is built from something that is from the late 19th century. Like
Something new.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, great. Any more questions or comments? All right, thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
We're
To see it.
Yeah.
Visual.
And I think we should be able to, for the commissioners, we can still access this proposals.
You should be able to, yeah.
Okay, great. So we can circulate them.
Yeah, I'd hope we'd be able to kind of show it on screen, but.
All right. Great.
Very cool, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Not the back to but this of course.
Oh, that would be
I have
wonderful.
more
That would be wonderful.
stash of weird art supplies that I thought I might use one day.
Am I sticking around for the remainder?
You're
Or
welcome to
excuse?
stay.
It's up to you, whatever, if you want to go and take a look.
I'm
at
gonna go
the
see if
tree.
the tree is
Yeah.
still up and
Okay,
or not, if there's nothing that's required.
I think we're.
I think we're good.
Yeah, I think.
Can you email Erin if there's a
Yes.
crew over there?
Yeah, I can do that. Right. Well, nice meeting you all.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Thanks for coming. Please.
Thanks for coming.
Up with the process.
Right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to some updates, ongoing projects and chart, which we have a lot, but I guess we're just gonna cover these couple of things. The 3D civic model, we were given some paper specs or from the architects about potential sites in the civic center for relocating the art back in or possibly getting some new art. And I think, Carl, you were gonna look into some kind of a 3D rendering so that we could visualize, so it would be more of a curation process rather than just saying
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and now I have the model in hand. It's not ready to show today. I know that we need to. There's probably some urgency that we are able to look at that before. I don't know, before the next meeting even. I just got it at the end of last week, and it's a little rough, but I think what could help me is if we kind of identify a few areas, and I can maybe stage some shots, and then we can talk about I can put dimensions and show what's there. What they gave me is really just kind of a raw model that doesn't show materials. A lot of the materials are the same in there, so I'm not too worried about that. If we wanted to just look at like a black and white line drawing, that can happen really quickly. If we want it to be more kind of realistic and show what the existing or proposed finishes are going to be, that would take a little bit longer. But yeah, it's right now I just have the kind of raw, some SketchUp format model. What do you think our timeline is for, our time frame is for deciding on those placements?
Well, I guess they're predicting that everyone's moving back in April. Is that that's what it said in the minutes? I was thinking February, but it sounds like it's
Okay.
April.
I don't remember, last I remember hearing was February was the time frame that they were gonna use for moving staff back in.
Mhm.
But I don't know if they're gonna have, when they're gonna do the event thing.
Mhm.
And then I know that facilities staff, I think Aaron mentioned that they would be kind of preoccupied with moving staff first before they start moving any art pieces in. So it could be April timeframe when they get to where they start moving pieces back in.
Mhm.
But I'm
Okay.
not positive on that timeframe. As far as the work, as far as using the 3D model to identify what pieces can go where, I mean, you basically got time between now and February to identify the pieces and locations, to have the plan ready for adoption and handing it off to whoever's doing the installation work.
Okay, yeah, I think that's plenty of time, and maybe what I'll try to do is get the model into a state where we can at least fly around it and kind of, get a sense of what spaces we're talking about, and then we can identify some pieces and start showing that. But I think, yeah, maybe by next meeting we'll have something that we can look at as a commission and move forward. Does that work for everyone?
This meeting will be in September.
Did you know
September,
that
okay.
we're not meeting till September?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's even better.
I think that what we had talked about is kind of sight lines too and adjacent
Yeah.
spaces to one another. So we can figure out what would work, near one another. And then we
Yeah.
also need to go through some of the pieces that have been already recited elsewhere, and then the ones that are in storage that we want to keep, or whether we want to deaccession them, whether we want to move them back, whether we want to fix them. So there's that to discuss also. So that might be a large item on the next agenda.
I do
Okay,
think
well, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
if you could aim for the September meeting, Carl, for having the model at least working so that we can fly through those spaces.
Yeah.
That I think would be helpful. Yeah, and then, Chris has shared some of the images of some of the pieces that are now in the Laos Auditorium that could be recited in Civic. It's interesting, Vanessa Nordyke, mayor-elect, she must have gotten a tour about a week ago. She posted some images online. And I'll try to capture those and I'll send them to you, Chris. There is going to be a lot of open space.
I got an update from Krista as well on the conditions reports.
Oh, great.
So she's actually gonna be ready to, I guess, have some volunteers to help fill those out. So start going around to the different pieces and identifying what conditions are in patients.
Okay,
So she's starting for that.
okay, great.
It'd be especially good to know about the ones that are in storage,
Mhm.
what condition those are in, what the history of those are, whether we,
Can
some
you
of
just,
them have been in storage for a long time.
yes. Can you just name 2 or 3 of those pieces? Because I can see you've got that. I didn't bring my sheet with me.
Yeah.
The Majestic, towards the end.
Some are those wildlife things,
Wildlife things, yeah.
the metal construction.
Mhm.
That's one there. I think we should maybe. I know you're going to be on vacation in August, but maybe before the September SPAC meeting, we could also take a look at the piece that's stored in the arcade,
Oh,
the one that's,
underneath, yeah.
yeah,
That Courtney was talking.
and just probably bring that for action to deaccession, you know.
There's this Vine, Maple, and Volcanic Rock is the title. It's a painting, mixed media on canvas by King is the.
Yeah, that one, for me, that would be put on the list to deaccession.
Yeah,
You know, I don't think we need to go through it today, but
yeah, there's a
Just-
pheasants, there, I mean, you had a shoreline. Some of these, they don't even know who the artist is. Steers, pheasants, by someone named Steers.
where are those pieces in storage? Do we know?
Depending on which ones, there's an office at the Public Works Human Operations building that has a majority.
Some
of
stuff,
those.
okay.
How did you want to do the assessment, condition assessment on those? Would you do that in person or?
If
bring them here?
if there's a room at Public Works where this stuff is stored,
Mhm. Probably start there with.
probably
with,
start there. Because they're safe, they're dry, it's indoors,
Yep.
they're in one place, and just go through it. And then figure out where the other things are.
Some of them that say storage are actually at Louds.
Well, that's another single location
They're already there.
covered,
Yeah.
you know.
We've got several pieces there at the library.
Yeah,
That's
that could conceivably stay there.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a lot of care in reinstalling them there and which ones should be together and, they could stay. So yeah, there's a lot of room and just, heads up, I had submitted a proposal for getting some new artwork and possibly having that be part of the, reinstallation celebration. So that's been kind of tabled until the next meeting as well. We work with staff to see if any, in any form that it might take to get some new artwork from some local artists whose work should be in the collection and could be absolutely beautiful in the new Civic Center. So anything more about Civic Center art locations, or should we make it a major agenda item for September? It's going to be a full meeting.
Yeah, I'll add that continuation update for September meeting. On the conditional report forms, is that just done by commissioners or is that volunteers or how does that normally get filled out?
Gretchen had mentioned something about an intern. I had a meeting with her and we discussed a bunch of things. And she thought there might be a possibility of getting an intern from Willamette, from the art history department, that might be willing to work on going around to artworks and, with some training, and so that the commissioners don't have to be doing it, or city staff.
And it sounded like Krista was willing to do that part of it too. I don't know if that was the case or if she was just working on the forms.
I think she was just working on the forms, but I don't know, we'd have to.
It would be good to just have a conversation, I think, with Krista. I have a lot of experience with interns. They can be great. They require supervision and training. And so depending on what you need, they can be effective, or maybe the work has to be done twice. So just figuring out, like Krista she could train someone.
Right.
She could, I don't know whether Willamette has quite a few requirements about paying interns. So student interns, so just investigating it would be my suggestion.
Yeah, and I will follow up with Gretchen on that too. We can.
Yeah.
John Bucci next week.
What's that?
John Bucci is giving us a tour of how the Ford Museum Park next week for the Cultural Tourism.
Oh, great.
Yeah, nice.
So,
You're all welcome to join us.
yeah.
One chair
What
to
is it?
another.
Yes. What's the day and time?
Thursday, July 16th. It'll be from 7:15 to 8:15.
In the morning?
Evening.
Oh,
We have other.
7:15 service.
we have
and
other
what kind
tours
of, is there a limit on how many people can?
It's a public meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, technically it's a informational site visit.
Yeah.
For the
July 16th?
July 16th.
I think it's great that
Thursday.
that board is doing that. To get
We're starting
people,
out at Bush House Museum of Art, and then we'll go from Bush House over to.
You're welcome to join us for the whole thing.
yeah, I saw the last, I couldn't make it for the other ones. I think it's great to do it. If the condition report form itself could be shared with commissioners, there is still a sticker mark on the side of the cube. It's never been cleaned. I just walked by it the other day. So I would be happy to fill something out, take a photograph, date it, and turn it into whoever it needs to go to. If I just had the form, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, I'd almost say just take a picture and send an email to Krista and
Okay.
Krista,
Okay,
and then that way she has that accessibility when she gets to
Yeah.
that piece.
Yeah, I would say whenever any of us are around town and we see something, and I also, when I go to the neighborhood associations, I ask them specifically that if there's, in my own neighborhood association, if they see something or keep their eye out for anything, so we can circulate that idea.
So I know I had mentioned before that I'd be willing to volunteer to do the inspections and stuff like that. Is that still a possibility or?
absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, so maybe you
I'll give
can
Krista
work
your
with
information.
Krista. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great. Maybe we should follow up on that. Moving on to Eco Earth Globe and the that CC Media video. I don't know if everyone had a chance to look at it, but Chris, that was really wonderful. And you were the
There's our filmmaker. Would you like to?
yeah. Maybe
Where-
tell us about how that
Is
came
it on
about.
the channel? CC.
It's currently available on the CC Media video on demand. It's in its broadcast run right now, so there's several dates where it's on channel 22 that it's scheduled for. I'll be posting it to my YouTube channel in about a week and having it available then long-term on the YouTube.
Okay, cool.
Just for the record, since this is being recorded, I think, can you introduce yourself again?
My name is Esther Lindsay, and I produced, directed, and edited the Eco Earth story from Creation to Crisis documentary, currently available on CC Media.
I was by the Globe yesterday, took some town visitors and a few things that, and I had been, alerted about your documentary, and I've been watching it in pieces. But I'm wondering if there can be a QR code there or something on, on the
On
side.
the posters, there is a QR code.
No, but I mean, to the
To the
video.
Go to the video.
So that people,
Good
an
idea.
educational thing, also the QR code on it's very small, the whole sign is very small now, I
It
know there
is.
was more, and the QR code is only very small. I'm thinking that it really, it used to be a lot bigger and also maybe maybe another poster or something on it, that you can read from 6, 10 feet away.
We can do that if it's okay with the city. Is that all right? I mean,
I
and,
have no idea. It should be
yeah.
further fine.
I mean, I'm not sure who we should ask.
Jennifer Keller.
Jennifer.
Jennifer Keller is the parks.
Jennifer is a parks person and the Globe is in a park, but
Right.
it's not under the AGS of the Parks Department anymore. You all are the Globe people now.
That's the tiny.
Who's put the signage in?
Pardon?
Who's put the signs on there? So,
We have, yeah.
so you can go ahead and update it and change it. and
So
make
we
it
don't
bigger.
need to check with the sign code people, nothing like that.
Is that controlled by a sign code?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's
I would
not
just
a
proceed.
commercial-
I would proceed.
Well,
Ask for forgiveness and negotiate.
yeah, it's easier to beg forgiveness than ask permission, right?
Yeah.
Public Works made the poster and they put it up, so I don't.
Oh.
yeah.
Public Works made the
Yeah,
poster?
yeah.
So is there a way?
They did, but years ago, Heather Demke made that
Yes.
poster, so that's how long ago it's been, and we put it up. We put it up. Yeah.
Do you have someone that you're working, someone who does your newsletter, who
Ken
designs?
and I put it up. So I know we put it up.
We're talking about the one on the fence.
The one on the fence at the Eagle Earth Club. There's two, one in the front and one in the back. Yeah.
If you wanna talk a little bit about that as a graphic designer, I might be able to help you with something like
Absolutely.
that. We
It
can work-
depends on your fees.
Yeah.
We're trying to save money here.
Well,
Yeah, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
Absolutely.
because there could be some kind of a headline on there.
That'd be great.
You know, because you can easily not see that.
I know,
sign.
it blends right in. I
Yeah.
share that.
And
Yeah.
I think a connection to the video, even though it's long, but if people can capture it,
Well, I've
if
also,
that's okay.
yes,
Thank you.
it is. I've also broken it into 2 separate ones that will be broadcast after the full one finishes its run. Then I will submit the 2 individual ones, the creation story of the Eco Earth and Eco Earth in Crisis.
Yeah.
Are the 2 individual ones that will be also available. But, and I'll have those posted to YouTube as well and be able to. I've also considered making it a DVD that's purchasable on demand with proceeds going to the fund to help with the
That would
maintenance and
be great.
restoration. So I'm be getting that set up later this month to be able to get to have available for people who want to purchase a DVD copy of
And
the
who would be
documentary.
producing those?
I have an on-demand production thing that I'm looking at right now, where I would upload the video, and then as people order it, I would then submit the funds for it to be printed and shipped to the people, and then I would submit the profits to the Salem Parks Foundation.
We could put it on our website, right up there with the owl signs.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
Oh, yeah,
Would
that's
you
good.
consider or be able to do so if somebody's in front of the Globe
mhm.
and they do the QR code, like a 2-3 minute encapsulated thing, I mean.
Like a demo video of how to
make
use it?
sense of just, of like
Like a
the
movie
story,
trailer?
like a really condensed thing about the
Like a
history of the
trailer?
story.
Yeah,
but
like a movie trailer.
really- Yeah, like a movie trailer.
I could put together like a 1-minute movie trailer for
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Yeah. Because that would be something, but as they're standing there, they could experience that
Okay,
with a big thing at the end, donate.
yeah.
To save it, save the globe. So that's fabulous.
I also had a question of, is there a potential to set up with the Salem Parks Foundation, set up as money comes in, create a perpetual fund that would then be able to be used to pay for the maintenance, the yearly or bi-yearly maintenance of the globe, so that it has, because I was doing some math and I was like, if there was an initial $600 and some odd thousand fund, that then the interest on it every year would be able to pay like $25,000 or $20,000 towards
Like an
maintenance.
endowment.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
a financial endowment that then would be managed by the Salem Parks Foundation. Is that a possibility to set up as a way of helping make sure that it's set up so that perpetually the maintenance is being paid for, so we don't have to keep asking the city for money,
Well,
but it depends on donations
no,
to get set up.
when the bridge was put in, and then they had all those, signage about the history of the park and whatnot. The Friends of Two Bridges set up a maintenance fund, but it was managed by the city, and I think that's who should manage. I mean, people can donate to it through us, but I think the city ought to be managing the maintenance.
And that's,
Would it go into our fund then, our?
I think what we do is, since it's being specialized and focused for the Eco Earth Globe, we would create a new account for the Eco Earth Globe maintenance, and any funding that came, whether that flowed through Parks Foundation and into the city, into that special account as well. We'll set that up with,
But it should be the city's.
and then it would be maintained by the city, and then.
We're
used for that.
short on engineers
Yes.
So that would
But
be,
and everything.
we have similar accounts for like the conference center, the convention center.
Yeah,
It's a gain loss reserve for the maintenance of that,
yeah.
that we maintain as well, so yeah. That should be an issue. But very forward thinking.
That way, as funding comes in and donations, people can know that the donations are just
Dedicated.
going to that purpose and aren't gonna get siphoned off to other projects.
Yeah.
right, so that would be above and beyond. what
That
we
would be
need to
above and
raise
beyond the
for
restoration, so
the rest.
once the restoration is funded, then additional donations would go towards funding an endowment to pay for the maintenance. That's just an idea. I was wondering if it would be a viable one to
I
put
love
into
your
the plans.
optimism.
What else could be done to get this video out to the general public? I'm thinking maybe a screening at Salem Cinema that would be a
So
fundraiser.
they do this. Salem Cinema has a real change program that they will do stage it for you.
Right.
You can talk to the Red Mouse and they promote those, and you can even have very good summer for there in the
Yeah.
hall and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they're very open to that. Who would be the ones to arrange for that?
I don't know, I mean, I think we should brainstorm a list of opportunities. I mean, maybe a screening at Center for 50+. You know,
Yeah, I didn't know that they had a theater there, but yeah.
well, they've got a multi-purpose space, which I've been to presentations. Warden Scriber did a lecture, you know, for 200 people.
What's the total runtime of the doc?
It's about 44 minutes for the full documentary, and then the individual ones are between 21 and 22 minutes or 23 minutes. I have to double check that when I.
The agenda had the link to the video.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, that was.
Oh, I did see, okay, that's what that is.
And
That's how we-
Brian, the producer, had an idea.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, you might have some ideas on this topic.
Now I got lots of ideas.
Well, I mean, on that, you know,
I'm getting it out, yeah, well, just to,
Yeah,
any,
for sure.
throw it out into the ether. But there's that Institute for Continued Learning at Willamette, you know, there's Rotary, I mean, I'm thinking about these things also for just doing the presentation about the Art Commission to these various organizations, but it could be, I think the club should be really prominent in those presentations also, and I'm trying to do that for the neighborhood associations as well. So
That's your
there is,
buttons supply.
I'm gonna need some more buttons, yeah,
Okay.
thank you, but they can take, you know, everyone takes them.
Good, that's great.
They have to.
Okay, all right.
well, before we leave this topic, I just want to thank you for doing this. And we had a chance meeting by the Eco Earth Globe, and now that's resulted in a 44-minute, really a video that is full of content. And the fact that you were able to do all the production at the time of this celebration, and then while Roger Gertenrich and Dan Sosi could both be there because they played off each other in that video.
Wonderful, yeah,
And both Fairmount Hill neighbors,
yes.
my neighborhood. Anyway, you know, it just seems like,
It was very fortuitous lining
Yeah.
of arrangements.
yeah.
Series of events.
So thank you, but I do think it would be good to make sure that our city council members see the video. I haven't had a chance to talk to any of them.
I know that, we mailed it to Linda Nishioka. But yeah, everybody, they all should see it.
Mark Wig on your board stopped me he was in the neighborhood and he said, I'm amazed at how many people are captured in the, of course,
And you did a great job in it too. Chris was featured in there as well.
You did, you're great.
yeah, it was super dry and breezy. I said, why don't we just meet at the Globe, not knowing it was gonna be really, really hot in Holland. But there's a lot of content there.
I
learned a
put
lot,
as much as I
yeah.
could in while still keeping it concise and moving so that, because I know the generations today don't have as much patience for long stuff. I could have made it longer, but I felt like this was the nice medium of what people are used to watching now and get the information out there concisely, but still tell the story as full as I could. Because this may be the last chance to tell the full story while there's people that were originally part of it involved in the telling of the current situation.
I actually think it would be good to get this in front of the Landmarks Commission. I know Kimberly is, I think Kimberly might be on vacation now.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Last I heard, she was out in the field working.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if she's going on vacation too. It's the summertime, so most people do go
Yeah,
on
exactly.
vacation this time, July, August.
Right, but I think it would be, you know, the Globe is a designated city landmark. The landmarks people voted for that designation. And just in terms of just building community in Salem around some of these topics, and there's a lot of crossover between that group and this group.
I had trouble finding online that it was a landmark that had been officially designated as a landmark. In fact, Google's AI says it was never officially designated a landmark. So that information needs to get out there that when it became an official designated, because I wasn't able to confirm the dates of that on my own. So
I can do that. I think it was during COVID and I definitely was at that meeting, probably remotely. But it would be pretty awesome to get the comments from that meeting if they're recorded because I think the vote was unanimous. People were just to a person, this is important in Salem, this should be, you know, this needs to continue into the future. And you know, it's a diverse group, architects, historians, people involved with the technology of preservation, historic building owners.
I'm willing to do a third part about the restoration as it's ongoing. If I'm kept informed of the different situations where I can show up and film, then I could work on documenting that so that when the restoration is complete, we can put out a third part that talks about the story of the restoration.
Wow, that's exciting.
Just make sure your email address is clearly written on the sign sheet.
What I keep hearing over and over again from whomever I show the Globe and other people, it's like, can't you just clean it up a little bit so that it doesn't look so bad now? And then the answer we've been given is that it'll just fall apart more, but is that really a proven, I mean, are there obvious spots where you can see if you take off the moss, those two pieces are gonna fall off? But is there anything that can be done, you know, because this is gonna be an ongoing ride, it's not something that's gonna happen.
Yes, however, if we can get to the stages part of it, it might not take that long, is what I'm hoping. I mean, we need to spend that, I really don't wanna leave $150,000 on the table. And it is gone June 30th next year. And that is like in 10 minutes. time goes by so fast. So I'm hoping that we can get going. You know, I mean, I take your point, it would be nice to clean it up, but I'm hoping that we can just get going on it.
Well, if the companies would work in stages, because do you foresee that we're gonna raise $1.5 million by then?
I do not, but I
So
think
if we
I
could
think
work
we have
in
enough money to
stages,
begin.
I mean, that's what I think we had talked about is,
But,
you know,
but I will tell you
can we
that
do it
we
in
work with
stages?
designated funds.
Yeah.
So we'll need some kind of paper that says, yes, we're gonna restore the mosaic. You know, people have given restricted donations. And in order to use those donations, we need to have something in writing that says, yep, you know, we're gonna bring the gold back to its former glory.
because I know in the past you've been reticent to say, but okay, if we do it in stages
Yeah,
and we take everything off and we spend whatever money we had
yeah.
in an effort to keep raising more money and say, hey, this is, you know, first stage, you were reticent to do that because you felt that maybe it would not go any further. So if you do
I
have
was
it in
hesitant to
writing,
do that because I kept hearing noises about, oh, we're gonna go back to the black glow. We're gonna have a laser light show glow. And we can't spend our money for those things.
Right.
And then you cannot spend a grant on those things either. It has to be the Eco-Earth restored.
but if it were in writing saying,
Yep.
this is being restored, but we're doing it in stages and we're raising the money based on, you know, the next step. So that's where I think there had been an indication that these companies were, I forget which one or both of
I
them,
think they
were
both-
willing to do that in stages.
Yeah, they
And that's
both
what we need
indicated-
to, I think, confirm, and how much it would be for each stage, so that we know what we can get to. Because something has to happen soon.
I would
Is there
still
some way to do
like
that?
to hear that the city of Salem thinks that this is important.
Yeah.
I have not heard that.
I'm not sure you're gonna get.
Well, the city of Salem is the owner of this landmark.
I mean, the
Large.
council, you're thinking about the council.
They are the decision makers. You know, we're not gonna float a bond for the Eco-Earth Club.
Well, we can try to get
What would
that.
that look like? Do you foresee that looking like?
I wish I had a crystal ball. But as I've been just thinking here, I wonder how many of them have actually been up close to that ball. And it seems like a targeted message should go out to each council member with the video.
And that would, I think, probably most appropriately come from this body.
I think you're right, because we are the city's agents around this topic.
You're in an advisory capacity, yeah.
Right.
I think we would have to indicate, though, that there would be no city funds involved, because that is the.
Well, there's
That is
already,
the-
there's already city
Provide any more from the general fund, because, you know, I've been shown how things are going down, and they don't, I can't see them saying that they would put any more money.
even the tot fund, you don't think that there could be more money?
You know what, I'm just relaying what I've,
Yeah.
the feeling that I've gotten from the counselors that I've
Certainly
talked to,
no,
and I haven't talked to all of them, but
certainly no general fund money.
Yeah.
I take that point. But I think to rule out the tot fund and to rule out, you know, maybe if there's another levy, to include some Eco-Earth money in another levy, because in 4 more years, the parks and library are gonna
come
have to
back
go up
again.
again.
yeah.
So I would hate to close that door.
I wouldn't
I
close that
wouldn't
door.
close the door, I'm just saying the temperature that
Yeah.
I'm getting.
I also think that, I paid a $265 traffic ticket. I am spending a lot of money paying into the parking meters downtown, where if I have a 10-minute errand, I have to pay $1.50. So there is cash coming into certain parts of our city. And I think that we should sit down with urban renewal people from downtown, have a conversation with them. There's a new leader there. and look at some of those boundaries. But I would definitely not say, no, we can guarantee that no city money needs to come into this. That's just wrong. That
Yeah.
is, I can't.
Yeah, I agree with that. To me, just going back to what we discussed a little bit, it feels like we need some dates, some deadlines, and I know we don't know yet what the cost is to, to remove the artwork and, remove the whole ball or bring it down to its base material or something like that. But it seems like at some point we have to have these triggers that are like, if we don't, we'd like to restore this. We'd like a commitment from the city, from people that want to help restore it. If we don't get this by this certain date, then we just need to move forward with taking it down. It feels, and I know I mentioned this last time. It just feels like we're going to kick the can down the road, and in a year, we're going to be in the same boat, except the costs are going to be much, much more. And if we don't at some point just say like, okay, it's this date. If by March next year we don't have the funds raised to rehabilitate this as needed, then we're going forward with taking it down. And then maybe that's gives the city and people that want to keep it some sense of urgency of like, this is a deadline. Because otherwise, if we're in July in 2027 and all of a sudden it's $3 million, it's just going to keep going like that. And it gets worse and falls apart. And I don't know that serves anybody. I don't know what the way forward is with that, like how you set that up, but it feels like we need some real deadlines, some this.
Respond, if I may. I'd like to respond to Carl, if I may.
Yeah.
So the deadline to me is that if you haven't used the $150,000 from the craft by June 30th, 2027, you will lose that money. So that's one deadline.
Yep.
And the other is the reason that the amount of money jumped so much for the Globe is the $400,000 was for repair. The $1 million is for renovation, complete renovation. I don't think you're gonna see a $1 million to $3 million jump. I think the work scope is what changed. I don't think it was necessarily elevation of materials and labor. Maybe some of it, but I don't think all of it. I think the big ticket item is the complete renovation bill.
I will add though that most estimates do have like this estimate is good for so long.
It's good for 90 days.
And they never go down.
Right, I
When you
understand that.
like, well, let's get a new estimate. They're not like, oh, now it's cheaper. It's always more.
Yeah,
So
there's
we should check and see if there's a deadline on that estimate.
90 days.
That's another deadline.
It's 90 days.
So that's
90
probably
days.
already passed. Like,
Yeah, it's already.
right. And if it's 5%, that
6 years ago is when the estimate
get in
was
this
first done.
inflationary thing. If it's
Full
5%,
Well, no.
The reason.
That's what I'm
Recent
talking
one.
about. I'm talking about the full
It's
renovation.
90 days, 90 days.
So it's
already
passed. So it's probably more.
Well, we don't know that.
I know it's not.
we do
less.
know that. I mean, I think we know it's always going to be more. There's
Yeah.
inflationary costs. Any kind of estimate like that, it's not going to go down. For two reasons. Inflation is one, and construction costs go up, and they've continued to go up. But also the condition of the globe goes down, so it gets worse. Costs go up, and I think that delta. So you might be right. I might be exaggerating saying 1 million to 3 million. I'm just saying. If there's not some time where we just say like strike a line in the sand and say we're either going to move forward with this or not, all we're doing is just adding time and money to not only if we were going to completely rehabilitate and bring it back up to perfect condition, but even to remove it and take it down, those costs are going to go up as well. I think so. It just feels like. And I know that you are anxious to move forward with this as, more than anyone. But I worry that we're going to be, like I said last time, we're going to be here in July next year, and it's going to be this even bigger cost, and it's going to be an even bigger cost to just take it down or something, and we won't have gotten anywhere, and costs have just gone up. So I don't know what the answer is, but I don't want to end up there, right?
Yeah.
Does a guest have her hand up to speak?
Sorry,
Oh, sorry, Leah.
somebody was up there with her,
Leah.
Leah.
Hi,
You had a
hi.
hand up to speak.
Sorry that I'm late, and I have a clarification question regarding the restoration requirements for the globe. Did it have to be exactly how it was when it was originally installed, or is there opportunity for like it to have new community participation in the essence of the globe, but like you and me can like design a tile, or kids of this generation can design a tile, or does it have to be exactly as it was?
I think there's opportunity for people to design new tiles. That's just based on my conversation with Mary Huntsman. But the hole, we would have to kind of fit that same hole. But it's a possibility. I think right now students are working on replacement tiles.
Yeah, and other artists. I think that could happen. I mean, there is restoration and rebuilding underway.
But it is also a complete artwork as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So it would probably have to go along with the concept of the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you look around with all the flags and all the, and also all the information is kind of faded on those information placards. That's a whole nother thing. But did you have something specific in mind?
Oh no, I was just thinking of how people would be more engaged and committed to seeing its longevity. Because I don't personally know anybody that participated in this project, but I'm a new resident to Salem. Like many people to Salem, they're new to Salem, like in the last 10 years. And so the affiliation is not there.
So that might be something.
I think to involve new people is a really good idea.
Or to at least publicize that there are new tiles happening. I don't know if you covered that part of it.
I did cover the fact that some of the tiles are being remade and involving the original artists and also involving new students in the recreation of the tiles, because they do have records of what each of the tiles were. So new artists are working on remaking the tiles so that they fit in the same locations where things have fallen off. But that would be something to discuss with Mary as far as a new design of a tile there. So because she is the art director for the project and restoration.
Leah, have you had a chance to see that documentary? Did you have a link to it?
I only saw the link right now, so I haven't watched it yet.
Okay.
I did want to add that if you do make your shortened trailer, then we can bring in a tablet to the farmer's market and have it on like a run.
Or the neighborhood association has a table at the farmer's market, a recurring table that we could. Great idea.
I'm gonna have to leave in a minute.
Any other comments?
Well, I do. I think, the urgency here is to involve the city council. I think that as soon as that can happen, if this body wants to do that, I think, I echo Carl, this could go on forever. I've sat here for a while now and watched it go on forever. So I think some action is pretty important. If you want to, send some advice to city council, however you want to do that. And you're not meeting in August, so.
I think it would be, personally, I think it would be good to get on the Landmarks Commission agenda for their next meeting. And because there is power in the community. And also, I think it would be good to talk to the downtown, whatever, redevelopment group.
The urban renewal?
Yeah, urban
Okay.
renewal.
Yeah, okay, good idea.
Yeah.
And are you charging us for that, or is this something that the art commission needs to do? I'm a little confused about that.
I'm happy to look. It sounds like I've looked at the agendas for the downtown, the urban renewal district. It sounds like they meet in person. I'm not sure I know a whole lot of the people on it, but I'm sure I know somebody. And then landmarks, they meet once a month, same way we do, virtually and in person in the evening. And I don't know what that schedule you know, I don't know what.
Well, I can find out those schedules. I still don't understand if this needs to come from the Arts Commission or if you want the Park Foundation to bring this to their attention.
I think it would be helpful if both of us did it.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's something that you can do, Chris, or I'm happy to just reach out to Kimberly. As a, we can do it as a private citizen. I mean,
Yeah, I'd be happy to attend a meeting, you know, of the, you know, if we need to present something.
Yeah.
Person,
And public comment.
you can also go as an advisor from the Public Art Commission. You're given that direction. Public Art Commission as a whole.
Well, I'm happy to take on, I can find out when the Landmarks Commission meets next.
Okay.
So if that's, you want to make that a motion to direct Vice Chair.
Sure. Do you want to raise the motion?
Okay, I move that I approach the Landmarks Commission, get on their agenda for their next meeting.
In the Urban Renewal.
And the Urban Renewal.
I second.
Okay.
Second.
And all approve?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone oppose or abstain? Great. That's
Thank
a
you.
movement forward.
And then we will join you. We'll be there too. So.
I mean, I can go back and look at the records. I can look at my own calendar and see when I attended the Landmarks Commission.
So that would have been in 2003, but like after the globe was completed.
No, it's
it was
after.
2020, when the HLC met to assign it to designate as a historic landmark.
Okay.
It was, I know it was after 2013.
And it's only with the local for the city of Salem is a
Right.
designation. It's not a national designation or
Right.
registered.
Right.
What does that mean even?
They're two
Good to
separate
know.
designations. I mean, the Salem one is a Salem-centric thing. I don't know what the dates for eligibility for that designation are. To get on the National Register, your property has to be in existence for at least 50 years. And then there's a much more rigorous process, and there are different paths that you can take to get that national designation. I don't know, I wrote the content that came through SPAC that actually went to city landmarks. Yeah, I mean, Kimberly, these are our cultural allies within city government, so I
Yes,
think we should
very important.
strengthen those bonds.
We couldn't agree more.
Well,
And we'll work, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, it's okay. I mean, this is kind of an obvious statement, but I think another really big hang up on this project and moving it forward is it needs a point person, someone that can really champion a lot of this movement
It
and
does.
see it through. We're talking about grants and fundraising and connections and things like that. We got to find that person. I don't think that person is in this room right now just because we're all, buried in other work, but
Right.
we need to find someone that is willing to put in the work to organize because things are confusing. I'm confused half the time of
And would
what's the next step? What can we do?
would this be a volunteer or a city of Salem staff person?
I think it's gotta be, I have no idea, but my gut says a volunteer because the city of Salem, anytime we go do them with something, we don't have staff. That's a constant thing is they don't have manpower or person power and they don't have money. So we have to have someone that can organize, that can do multiple things, even just like find a grant specialist, find what are the next steps, lay this out. Promote the video, all of these things.
Project manager.
This person,
What's that?
who will recruit this person?
Well, is there
Great
anyone
question.
that you know in the community
Hazel
that,
Patton comes to mind, but I
Yeah.
think she's pretty daring too.
Right, maybe she
What was
knows,
that? Hazel Patton.
maybe she knows somebody,
But I honestly think, I mean, she has done so much.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but you know what? We might not be able to find that person. If you come up with somebody,
right.
bring-
It's coming to the theme. I don't want to talk about this forever and not get anything done. We
Right.
need someone that's gonna do something.
maybe as the word gets out especially with the media, maybe that person will float to.
Yeah, well, I mean, but we can't stop wishing for it to happen
Well,
either
we're
and
moving along
materialize.
as much
We
as
need
we
to-
can.
Someone needs to find the person.
Chris knows a lot of people, you know a lot of people. Yeah.
I do know a lot of people. This would be a super heavy lift for someone to do the work for free.
Yeah,
Like it.
Or even a team of people that could work, someone on the marketing, someone on the grad, you know.
Is that Two Bridge nonprofit still active?
I don't think so. But that was Hazel again.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that they gave them the Salem, this fund, you know, for maintenance and then I think that they're done. I think they're done.
Okay.
The city of Salem maintains the property and
What was that?
the Two Bridges committee.
Yeah.
Gallagher Fitness was really involved in that, but I think, you know, they're running their races and the Ironman competition and all that. So.
There is a list of some of the funders who are listed around the globe for the original funding. Could be reached out to and say,
They have been
they
reached
have
out
been reached out
to.
to,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and many of them contribute consistently. So it has been a help. Roger Burton-Ridge is getting up there. I don't think we can call on him again.
Yeah.
And he lives in Portland.
Well, thank God we have him on video.
Yeah.
And he
Because
does give a suggestion that I put in the video of neighborhood associations and business associations coming together and doing the fundraising and reaching out among their constituents to help fundraise for
The
it.
entire city got the National Guard. I mean, when you look back and you know, kind of reprise the original effort, it was all hands on deck.
Mhm.
It was huge.
okay, I will follow through, but I am gonna have to leave.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, and Esther, thank you.
Yes, thank you. Oh my goodness.
And I'm really glad that we could have Michael Boonstra here with us today.
Yeah.
Because that's gonna be exciting. I turned my phone off, but I hope that they're gonna tell me the tree is still standing so we can organize around something.
Leah has a question.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thanks,
yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, it's just about, I'm sorry if I missed it earlier in the meeting, but if there was any updates on mural on retaining wall code, maybe? Okay,
Not
thank
at this meeting. We will keep it on our radar though, Leah. Thank you. And thanks for all you do for the community. Leah organized the neighborhood association table that we have at the Saturday market. She did a great job. And just segue quickly into the neighborhood outreach, you know, I continue to go to neighborhood associations. Got three of them under our belt, and I'm gonna go to Highland neighborhood on August 22nd. I'm gonna try to reach out to Rotary and maybe that Institute for Continued Learning and some others. And at that time, you know, maybe somebody will rise to the surface from one of those interactions, just getting out there and letting people know we're looking for, you know, help with all of these things, and especially the Eagle Earth Club.
Yeah.
So we'll just reach out and see what we can do.
Good.
Okay. Any commissioner comments? Okay, nothing else, we can adjourn at 1:10. Thank you, everybody. And enjoy your August. We're gonna have a little break and come back.